if you feel that this is the right path for you, take it 100% and do not look back because
Mm.
the positives will outweigh the negatives. And if you're worried about what people think about you and how you'll be viewed, don't worry about that because people forget things instantly.
Welcome to the Homeschool Connections podcast. I'm your host, Kaitlin Zara, and I'm so glad you're spending some time with me today. New episodes drop every week, so make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell if you're watching on YouTube. All right, mamas, grab your coffee, press play, and let's homeschool together. Today we have Anthony Gugliucci joining us. Anthony is a former homeschooler who went on to become a student at Penn State, and most impressively, he's a thriving entrepreneur. He's the founder of AG Cooks, a premium meal prep service based in New York. Anthony, thanks so much for joining us. It is so great to have you here.
I am so happy to be here, Caitlin.
Yay. So, Anthony, clarify this for me, but I think you went to Catholic school for elementary, middle school, and the beginning of high school. Is that right?
Yes, up until ninth grade freshman year, I left.
Yeah. So that's kind of like a really important time for most, for most people. That high school time is pretty, intense and blah, blah, blah. I'm rewording that. I'm gonna redo that. Okay. I'm going back. Okay. So Anthony, that's a really important part of, your schooling is this high school time. And that is exactly when the pandemic ended up hitting. And your parents, alongside with you, you made this really bold and courageous decision to homeschool. And I know, in speaking with your mom, who's a dear friend of mine, a lot of families wanted to, but maybe didn't have the courage to make this decision to homeschool at that time. So tell me a little bit about what that was like, making the decision with your family and deciding that you were going to homeschool after all those years in Catholic school.
So when this first all happened, I was going to school at St. Anthony's and we had to wear masks and we were doing the social distancing and all this nonsense that I never agreed with.
Oh,
And there was kind of a couple different pivotal points that really made me think like, is this how I want to, be treated? And it was when I got a detention for
okay.
not wearing my mask correctly in the halls. And that kind of just set me off the edge because I never wanted to be in detention. And I was always a pretty good behaving student.
Yeah.
So that was like a surprise to me that you could get a detention for not wearing your mask correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of spiraled to this whole thing that when the school year ended and we were told that we would have to come back sophomore year with masks on, that I said to myself, I don't want to do that. Is there any other way we can get around that? And that's when that conversation about homeschooling was sparked up. And we had no idea what we were doing. Like, I had never done it. My mom had never done anything about it.
Yeah.
So it was all new to us. But we quickly found good people that were experienced in homeschooling and they guided us in the right direction.
I love that. And I'm laughing because it's almost not the blind leading the blind, but I'm going to tell a story in a minute about how your mom was like the angel that I was looking for. She was the answer to a prayer because she showed me what to do. So it makes me laugh when you say that she had no idea what she was doing because she was my greatest resource at the time. But I have to ask you, did you have any apprehension or anxiety that your friends were gonna judge you, that people were gonna think you were weird, that homeschooling was a weird, unusual way to end out your high school, your high school years?
Yeah, so there definitely was a lot of judging and, stereotype joking and whatever, but I have never been someone who uh like falls into the pressure of people, saying like, "Oh, you're not going to go to college, you're not going to make any friends." And which is completely false because I'm doing way more than the people who have been talking about me,
Yes.
back then. And, I would just say that it's kind of like people always judge you, when you want to do something that's good for yourself, but you just have to say, this is the best move for me. And that's how it was for me. I said, this is the best move for me. And that's what I had to do.
I think that is so incredible at this young age that you were in ninth grade to have that insight and to have that bravery really to step out and do what was best for you. I always say it's great to take the road less traveled
Yes.
and having that, I don't know, that inner, whatever you want to call it. I mean, certainly you had a backbone and you really knew what you wanted. And I think it's so wonderful that your parents were supportive too. And in um, an episode in season 6, I was interviewed, and the interview is called The Unexpected Homeschooler. And so, like you, Anthony, I didn't think that I would find myself homeschooling my sons,
Mhm.
but I talked about in that episode meeting your mom and how I had really just wanted so desperately to meet someone who could tell me what to do. And your mom was just incredible to me and spoke to me for such a long time. And she was so wonderful. And I remember being at your house for dinner with your mom and you walked in, and us ladies were just finishing up eating, and someone asked you, "How is homeschooling going?" And you started to talk about farming, and you had found a farm that had these really great quality meats, and you were talking about raw
Yes.
milk, and you're talking about getting out in the morning and getting a workout in the sunlight and fresh air. And I just like I looked at you in awe that a young person had taken this opportunity, this freedom that comes with homeschooling, and you had it just sparked you deep diving into your passion. And I really want to hear about how that all came about, how you use this freedom with your time to do something really productive.
So initially, sophomore year, is kind of when I really got into health and fitness. And this extra time on my hands just allowed me to kind of fully deep dive into researching like real health, like not Western medicine, at like going out in the sunlight, grounding, working out, um, healthy eating, organic foods, grass fed meats. And
Mhm.
it just gave me so much more time to really research everything and realize that a lot of stuff that we were initially taught in school and that the news tells us is false. And
Yeah.
I felt that when I lived my life like that, I felt amazing. My energy was higher and my mood was always amazing because I was always getting out in the fresh air and sunlight. And when you're trapped, in school with the fluorescent lighting all day long, you feel tired and you know, you're not at your full capacity.
I couldn't agree more. I so many things that you said sparked, I'm the same way. I love grounding. I love the idea of getting my kids outside as much as possible. Like I've got 2 boys, so I'm trying to get them outside barefoot playing all the time, and I think it
Yeah.
really does enhance their learning so much. I think after we, get outside, get the fresh air, get the sunlight, get those really great whole foods in our bodies, and especially for our children, it really helps with concentration and productivity. And I really think it's just amazing that at your age, you understood how important that was. And I've wondered, how is it that you didn't fall into the same trap as most people your age and just find yourself, taking advantage of that freedom with the time and scrolling endlessly on TikTok? How did you stay so disciplined to really dive into this passion instead?
I think one of the main things is, just thanking my parents because they really showed me, how to have a good work ethic and to not slack off, and we've always been taught as we were young that we have to, like, work for what we have, and being homeschooled was kind of just another way of saying, "Okay, well, you're not in school for 8 hours, so you're
Mhm.
going to still have to do stuff for 8 hours." And
Yeah.
not just play on your phone and do whatever. And I kinda took that and I said, "This is great because I would rather do my schoolwork for 3, 4 hours maybe, and then go to work for my dad for another 4
Mhm.
hours, and then do a workout, and eat food, and my whole day was complete. And it was great.
I think that's amazing. So, do you think that if you hadn't been homeschooled for those few years, those last 3 years, would you have gotten into fitness? Would you have learned as much about healthy eating? Would you have helped your dad out at work had you been in a traditional school?
No, it would have been completely different,
Yeah.
especially because especially work-wise, um, since I didn't have school on Fridays, homeschooling, and I would have half
Mhm.
days on Monday and Wednesday, I was always able to go to work and help out and just see how business runs and, like, the reality of the real world. And
Yeah.
just I started cooking, things that I would have never done going to school. I would just wouldn't have time to learn.
Well, as a former public school teacher, I loved being in the classroom, but now seeing the other side and seeing homeschooling, I realize that we have this misconception that school prepares us for the real world, that it makes us ready to go out and have a job and a career, but in so many ways it actually doesn't. It's that real life experience that you're speaking to working with your dad that will prepare you to be successful in your life, and I think homeschooling just is such a gift in that way. I think you get new experiences, opportunities to speak to people and work with people you never would have interacted with. And what a blessing that you got to also just be with your dad. Having that quality time is something that most young people don't get. Usually, dad goes off to work, child goes off to school, and you were really gifted the opportunity to have extra time together.
And it also motivates me to see how hard he works every day,
I love that.
and it kinda just pushes me to be to that standard and to be better.
That's wonderful. So tell me when AG Cook started, which is your meal prep service. When did your passion turn from passion into business?
So, I first started cooking when I was homeschooled, so sophomore year, I was like, "Well, my mom is at work, my dad is at work,
Mhm.
who's gonna feed me?" So,
Yeah.
I was like, "Let me start cooking." So, started with basic stuff, just, like, making eggs and toast and whatever,
Mhm.
and then it escalated to, fish and meats and pastas and all types of different dishes that I would make and experiment with different spices and different everything. And it became like a hobby and a passion. And I was in summer session at Penn State recently this summer, and I was talking to my friends and we were like, we have to start some sort of business. We need to do something here. There's so much opportunity. And that kind of got pushed under the rug during the fall semester.
Mhm.
But I came back home for winter break and I said to myself, I want to do something like big here. And I want to be different and I want to start something. And that's when I said to myself, what do I love to do? Because I believe that if you're going to do something, it's got to be something that you love so you can put all of
Mhm.
your effort and all of your energy into it. And I said I love cooking. So AG Cooks was born then.
Wonderful. That is so wonderful. And how did you learn everything you needed to know to be able to turn it into a business? I know I heard a rumor that at the co-op that you attended, that some of what you learned actually even earned you some high school credits. But how did you continue to learn so that you could really turn this into a legitimate business?
So I learn by just going at something and then failing and then learning from that. Learning the hard
That's a
way.
great Yeah, no, that's wonderful.
But just kind of starting it up, and you almost have to fake the hype is what I've learned, where
Mhm.
I wasn't getting orders for a couple of weeks, but I was still promoting and saying, buy now, it's selling out, all this and that. And
Yeah.
I was making sure to give free samples to people and free meals, and they would post on their social media just to get the word out. And As it grew and grew and grew, I started posting videos and stuff like that. And people began to say, oh, like, this looks good. Maybe I'll try it. And then once that started, it just got the ball rolling. And we were doing about, we as in, as in myself, was doing
Yeah.
about 50 to 60 meals at our highest time at school. And it was a lot. I would be cooking for 9 to 10 hours.
That's
Yeah,
incredible. That is
losing my mind,
incredible.
but it all worked out so well, and I was so happy that I did that.
Emily Brown from Fiat Life Coaching offers premium support for Catholic homeschooling moms to learn essential skills to manage their time, other people's behavior, and their own mental and emotional well being. Get all the details for her signature program, the Happy Holy Mama membership, at fiatlifecoaching.com. I'm just listening to you again in awe, just your persistence, your determination, your discipline to really stick with this is incredible. And I just can't help but think what a testament to homeschooling, of course, your whole education, but that you were given this opportunity and you were just such a shining example of what everyone hopes that a homeschooler, would turn out to be. And I think, Anthony, people are really excited to homeschool their kids when they're little, like my kids are. And it seems really, I don't know, fairy tale like and idealistic that there's tea time and read alouds and park days, and people are really encouraged to homeschool when their kids are younger. But for your parents and for you, jumping in when you were in high school, that's something most people are kind of intimidated by. There's these fears that parents have, like, can I do it? Will my child actually end up being successful? Like you said, will they go to college? Will they have the skills that they need? And listening to your story, you have far exceeded, I think, any parent's expectation and hopes and aspirations for their child. This is just absolutely incredible what you've turned this story into.
Thank you.
I am really, really, really impressed. So do you feel now you seeing how you used your homeschooling opportunity and your time with your dad, do you feel kind of grateful that you got to homeschool? I know initially that was never the plan. You probably were ready to stay at St. Anthony's very happily. Are you kind of glad that your life took this kind of pivot when it did?
Yes, I'm 100% happy that it happened. I think everything happens for a reason, and I think that was meant to be for my life.
I think that's awesome. Now, what did you think? Any pros and cons between the traditional
Hmm.
schooling and the way that you were learning in homeschool? Do you think as a high schooler you can give any kind of insight for that parent who's wondering, should I be homeschooling in high school?
Pros, you're going to have
Yeah.
a lot of free time, so
Mhm.
fill it up with extracurricular activities, go out on go out and see stuff. I would say, especially for younger kids, like go to farms and go to um like workplaces just to see how like things run and how people
Yeah.
how the world works. But if you're older, I would say the pros and cons being at school, you have friends everywhere. And if you, let's say, didn't have friends at home, then it would be more difficult meeting people. But that's why I would say go and do sports and go and do extracurricular activities where, there's always club sports and like the YMCA and the Boys
Yeah.
and Girls Club where you can meet all sorts of people. And especially now with homeschool growing and growing, you can find so many more homeschoolers than you used to back in the day. And
Mhm.
especially with social media, you can get in contact with anybody who is similar to you. So there really is the possibilities are endless. I mean, I would say the only con is that
Mhm.
school just allows you to meet more people traditionally because there's more people there. I would say it's about the quality of the person over the quantity. So if you meet
That's
3 homeschool people
amazing.
that are amazing friends, you're gonna be friends with them for your entire life. That's what I think.
I think it's incredible. I see that already with my son, Rocco, that, the friends that he's made are friends I see potentially being lifelong
Mhm.
friends. They really are wonderful children who come from incredible families. I see what you're saying exactly. And I almost think that even is an opportunity in itself. If you don't have all of these friends and all of these opportunities to see children, other kids your age all day, kind of gives you the opportunity to grow and grow in your confidence and to introduce yourself to people and be more outgoing. And what a gift that is, too, to have that opportunity to meet people and put yourself out there. So, Anthony, I've got for you what I'd like to call the homeschool hot seat. So, we're going to just like some short and sweet, quick, whatever comes to mind first questions. And if you want to, expand on it, by all means, but some rapid fired questions for you
Okay.
now. Okay. Is it true that we should all be eating our body weight in protein?
So if you want to build muscle, and I would say maintain your weight, yes. But if you would like to maintain muscle and cut down on body fat, I would say around
Mhm.
the zero point 0.8, zero point 0.9 range is probably perfect for protein.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, do you eat cheat meals? And if so, what's your favorite?
Yes, I do. My favorite cheat meal is pizza. I love
I love
pizza.
that. Me too. Love pizza. If you haven't already, I'm going to be linking it in the show notes below, but you've got to check out Anthony's Instagram. He's going to show you he made such a transformation, a personal transformation through nutrition and fitness himself. Absolutely incredible. You're going to want to check that out. All right. Here's another one. For busy moms like myself, trying to do my very best to feed my kids well, what's your biggest tip? Am I supposed to look for non-GMO? Am I supposed to look for gluten-free? What should I do?
So I always, flip over the product and I say, what's the ingredients? If you cannot recognize the words on the back of the ingredients, do not get it. It should be a very
Hmm.
standard, you know, beef, chicken, fish. It's all one ingredient.
Yep.
Vegetables, fruits. The only thing that is acceptable is maybe like if you get those snacks that have coconut oil and like chocolate and stuff like that, as long as it's organic and you see the ingredients like no soy, no
Hmm.
sugar, none of these GMOs, but I always look for the USDA label as well. That's definitely an important one because I used to see the non-GMO label, but that one is actually like a marketing trick. It's not really
Yeah.
like
Yep.
non-GMO. Or it might be non-GMO,
Mhm.
but it's not organic. So I would always look for the USDA label and just stick to
Amazing.
simple ingredient whole foods.
Great tip. Great tip. So I don't consider myself an athlete, but I am definitely a fitness enthusiast. And I want to know, how many rest days do you take a week? And what do you think is important for the rest of us?
I think that if you are getting 8+ hours sleep every day, you could probably work out every single day. I personally take one rest day, usually on Sunday, and it's more of like an active recovery day where I'll be outside, I'll walk around, maybe I'll do some physical labor that whatever my dad has planned
Mhm.
for me on a Sunday.
Yeah.
But
Wonderful.
but yeah, as long as you're getting your sleep and rest, you could exercise every day.
I love that. I get really good sleep. I love magnesium.
Oh,
I love
magnesium is
taking a
great.
magnesium supplement. Yeah, they say everybody's deficient in magnesium, and it's, typically, can't say for everybody, but typically something good to think about adding into your regimen. All right, last rapid fire question for you. What is your favorite thing about having your own business?
My favorite thing about having my own business is I feel that I have like a purpose. It
Tell me about that.
gives me a sort of um what's the word? Like meaningfulness to wake up in the morning and to be driven.
Mhm.
When I get up and I say to myself, I have to do this, this, and this, then it gives me no time to mess around and not get work done.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah. So, what would you say to the college kid who feels like they're really exhausted and overworked, and college is a lot of work as it is? To see you as a college student at Penn State, but also a business owner, how do you do it? How do you manage your time? How do you do it all?
It takes sacrifice, 100%.
Mhm.
If you want to do school and be a business owner, you have to sacrifice your social aspect because I would go to school during the week and then on the weekends I would have to work and edit videos and post and cook and do all that type of stuff in person, meeting
Yeah.
people. But that's the joy in it is that no one's doing it. So that's what I find is most fun.
It's amazing. All right, so AG Cooks, you have meal prep service for whoever wants to sign on in the New York area. You will prep these whole food, really healthy, satisfying, and they look absolutely delicious meals. I know you've got a lot in the works. I know that you're thinking of maybe coming out with some merchandise, and you are
Yeah.
thinking of. I saw some of the wellness shots, the ginger and all that. Tell us about what's next for your business. How are you going to grow? What are you adding to your business now?
So right now we're working on just getting the packaging sleeves really nice. Last night actually the
Tell
the
me.
uh the the whatever the box came in and it was completely wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, "Oh my goodness, I just spent a couple $100 on this and it was just wrong." But
Mm-hmm.
I actually have um a great guy. His name is Dean. He owns a business called Horseman Wellness Company and he's in Philadelphia and he's just been really helping me with telling me how he did his business and what to do. So I texted him and he was like, "Yeah, you weren't supposed to do that size." So we fixed that all up, but we're going for merch. We're going for the AG Elixir, which is the wellness shot, but
Yeah.
just perfecting the website and perfecting the brand, trying to get into gyms, going in person and, if they
Mm.
have a fridge or if they have anything, like just trying to get
I love
there,
it.
maybe some pop-ups pretty soon, but things are good right now. I'm definitely excited, to keep on going.
I'm so excited for you. I think you are going to, this business is going to grow beyond even your greatest, wildest dreams. So I'm so excited to watch all that happen for you. And I'm so glad that you just shared the story about the box because I think that so many young people assume when they see someone online on social media that it's somehow glamorized or it's easy or that maybe you have somebody guiding you and that it's all kind of going flawlessly for you, but the truth is that you are learning, like you said before, through trial and error, and that is going to make you an unstoppable business owner and entrepreneur because this experience that you're getting through those different situations that happen like the box, that just gives you the knowledge to fuel you forward and to I mean you can't read that in a book,
No.
can you? You really can't. When you live it and you learn, just absolutely incredible, Anthony.
Yeah, and that's really what I'm trying to push in my series right now where I record a video every single day in my life, to grow my business, and it really just
Mhm.
shows the trials and tribulations that you have to go through to become a business owner, because if you're not funded directly by someone, you have to work
Yeah.
to spend money, so that's the whole point that I'm trying to push is that I'm going to work, I'm making money, and then something like this happens and the whole day is worth nothing. But the experience and the trial and the tribulation makes it all worth it in the end because you learn how to do it the right way. Then you can teach others who have the same idea, and then you're happier, and you're more grateful at the end when everything is done, and you say, "Finally, this turned out exactly how I want it." And there's only one way to do it because you never do something perfect the first time. There's always,
Never.
you got to do it multiple times.
Yeah. Oh, Anthony, this is so incredible. Now, before we sign off for today, I really want you to talk to someone who's listening. Perhaps a mom or a dad is listening to this podcast and is like, looks over at their high school student and says, "You have to listen to this. I'm starting this over. Get out your phone. I'm going to send you a link." And I want you to talk to the heart of that homeschooled high schooler, somebody in 10th, 11th, or 12th grade. What do you say to that person who's listening?
If you feel that this is the right path for you, take it 100% and do not look back, because
Mm.
the positives will outweigh the negatives. And if you're worried about what people think about you and how you'll be viewed, don't worry about that, because people forget things instantly. So if someone's so worked up about what you're doing in your life, then they're giving you the energy and the attention. So you should feel that that's actually good, because thank you for wasting your time and criticizing me for doing something that I want to do, because they're probably thinking to
Mhm.
themselves, I wish I had the guts to do that.
I think you nailed it on the that is exactly, the perspective I would take, and I always say when I turned to homeschooling for my sons, I didn't do it because it was the cool thing to do it. I knew that it was the
Mhm.
right thing, and I knew it was gonna be fruitful, and it was gonna be really productive and amazing for our family, and so it really is about drowning out that noise and going for what you believe in. Anthony, it has been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for being here. I know that so many parents who, like I said, feel that homeschooling a young child is doable and even more socially accepted, but feel that maybe homeschooling for high school isn't, they're gonna listen to this and feel very differently after this conversation. And you are proof that not only is it possible, but homeschooling can be a path to something absolutely extraordinary. You are totally an inspiration to all of us. So thank you for being here. And like I said, for all of you that want to follow along with Anthony's journey, check out the show notes below. I'm going to have where you can find him, his Instagram, link to his business. If you're on Long Island and want to try these meals, I've got all that info below for you. Anthony, thanks for being here. This isn't the end of the conversation. I want to hear from you. Come say hi on Instagram, connect with me on Facebook, or leave a comment below. I want to know what today's conversation sparked in you. I read and respond to every message. Until next time, remember, you got this.